Alright, we are live. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Thursday night. We are here, HWR's Four Corner Rants, and Lordy B, do we have some time for everybody. There we go, that should be really good. We definitely got like a lot going on tonight. We're going to give everybody a whole bunch of stuff that we have, and it is going to be a busy night. First of all, we're going to introduce the hardcore crew. First off, he is our gourmet cooking, guitar plucking, incomparable one, Lance Moss.
And thank you for having me. And I'm not sure what exactly is going up tomorrow.
I don't know what is going up tomorrow.
The Redneck episode of Redneck Gourmet. I'll probably have to look while in the show.
Oh, okay. But I thought it was another wrestling show that was coming on and we didn't know about. All right. She is the vicious vixen from Kentucky's Own Wrestling. She is the lovable but deadly Zoe Nightshade.
You know it. Glad to be back again.
Maybe I should add the manager of the KCW Tag Team Champions to that intro, huh?
Ooh, yes, you should. I am the manager of the Kentucky's Own Wrestling Tag Team Champions, known as Carnage.
All right, and he is the CEO of this insane asylum. He is the one and only Rick Head. Rick, we're back again, eh?
Yeah, you know what? I got my pipe packed, so I'm getting ready to light up, and let's do this.
All right. I don't know if he's back yet, but he is the host with the ghost. He is our beloved son of a bitch, Andy. Andy, are you back yet? He went to go get some to drink.
No, he just jumped on, Andy.
There he is.
I certainly am.
There he is. Sounded like Lord Vader. All right. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, there's a lot happening in professional wrestling. First of all, the sad news of Dick Slater, Dirty Dick Slater. For you folks that don't know, he was a journeyman wrestler. He was the type of guy that went to different promotions. He wrestled for the WWF, the NWA, you name it, he pretty much wrestled for it. He was a former Georgia Championship Wrestling, WWF, WCW competitor. He passed away today at the age of 67. His real name was Richard Van Slater, otherwise known as Dirty Dick Slater. He began his career in the 1960s in the late, and he traveled down to Florida and got trained under the Briscoes and Cowboy Bill Watts. He has won numerous titles throughout his time, and even the Georgia Championship Wrestling's tag team title with a Hall of Famer, Cowboy Bob Orton. He had a little brief run. It wasn't that great from 86 to spring of 87 in the WWF at the time, and he was taking on the guys like the Magnificent Don Morocco and Butch Reed. Nothing really big. He joined Colonel Rob Parker's stable, the Stud Stable, and he was part of also Gary Hart's stable. I'm not going to keep going on, but he did win the WCW tag team titles with Bunkhouse Buck at one time. So, and throughout the years, he's had his issues. He's been in jail a couple of times. So, but I'm hoping that he finds peace now. No matter what, he's a legend, and he will be missed. Let's go straight on before we go into our main stories. Rick, WWE has recently signed 7 new talent who will be for NXT, and they are the former UFC fighter and Evolve Wrestling champion, Matt Riddle. As it stands out right now, that's the biggest acquisition. The next one, it is Maya Yim, who is a familiar face, who competed in the Mae Young Classic of last year and currently in this year. She was actually signed her contract with Triple H last night. Chelsea Green was a contestant of the 2005's version of Tough Enough, and she honed her craft in Impact Wrestling from 2016 to current. She is a 3-year veteran. Excuse me. The next person is a 3-year veteran of Ring of Honor. He is Punishment Martinez, who captured their promotion's TV title earlier this year and held the belt for 100 days before dropping it. Already a 10-year pro at 26, Carrillo is a luchador that comes from the famed Garza family of Mexican wrestling. Both Vidat and Jordan Amagian come from different sports backgrounds, but Vidat is a 6'2", 230-pound Australian rugby player, while the 7'3", 370 pounds Jordan Amabian has played college basketball for the University of South Florida and Morgan State University. So that's quite a list, Rick.
Well, that's WWE is realizing a lot of the NXT guys are starting to come up. Stephanie McMahon recently did an interview where she was talking about how she wants the women roster to actually eventually have their not only division but their own show. So she's, I guess that's her goal, or her latest new project that she wants. Sign more women, and thus again upping the roster. And if they're going to be having this tag team division, the rumored tag teams division, they're going to need more women, because doing the math right now, it just won't work.
Absolutely, and I'm going to do a big shout out to our buddy George. He's watching us on YouTube at the HWR chat room. Glad that you're fine, George. Glad you got your power back. George was actually in the hurricane last week, so he's right now. We're glad that he's fine and he's back with us and watching the show.
And if you would have heard the noise George made when his power came back on, damn.
That was right after without even plugging in the computer, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go on with that. Well, I gotta say, Lance, a lot of those people on the list, Matt Riddle, Maya Yim, Chelsea and Chelsea Green are pretty much the veterans. Everybody else are, even though they're veterans like Carrillo from Mexico, but the other two, these are unknowns. They have the size, they have the weight and build. So I'm thinking, hopefully they give them a good gimmick, and taking them straight to NXT to fill up that roster. I think we're seeing a totally different NXT this time.
Well, I can see the people who like your Maya Yims, your Chelsea Greens, and so on and so forth. The people who have actually been trained, getting a little bit polished up in the Performance Center, and then going into the NXT. But those two guys that are greener than goose shit, they need to be properly trained, or else, hell, they just need to be fucking properly trained, or else they're gonna start hurting people.
Absolutely. And over in HWR show, he is Wicket133. And Lance, who is that?
Herbie.
Yep. Good to see you, Herbie. And with that, let's go to you, Zoe. What do you think of the new additions?
I mean, as far as it goes, I can't really say anything until I actually see how they are with the switchover, those who are coming from other promotions. I'm excited to see what they got.
Absolutely. And what about you, Andy? Final word on these new additions.
The only problem I've got, if anyone does any Wikipedia or any anybody can be bothered. Why they've got somebody like Mick Riddell from UFC, I have no idea. Because if you Google the guy, he got fucking fired for taking drugs.
You know what? You know what? George, Wikipedia.
George, he's our Mike Tenay of HWR. We send him.
Or we call him Georgepedia.
Yep, there you go, Georgepedia. All right, so we're going to go over for one of the topics now. We're going to go straight into this. It is Austin Aries. Rick is not happy with what happened with things in Impact. And apparently, since they told him to drop the belt to Johnny Nitro, Mundo, Impact, whatever, he kind of took the ball and went home.
If you look at his recent pattern over the past year and a half, that seems to be what Austin Aries does. Austin Aries was over in 205 Live. I think he first was NXT, but then he was over 205 Live. He was injured, so he started doing commentating. He was really doing good there. I am an Aries fan, unfortunately, behind the scenes. He seems to come across as a bit of a douchebag. Very, very self-centered. Kind of like CM Punk, but without the popularity.
And without the height.
Yeah, exactly.
Him and Punk are about the same height.
Yeah, but Punk could just sell it a lot better. Yeah. When it comes down to Austin Aries, he's burnt a lot of bridges. He went from, he didn't even last in Impact after he left. That was less than a year. And the way he got up and left was very, very unprofessional. So it's, how many bridges did he got to burn before he realizes, shit, I'm going to be like Virgil.
Well, you know what? And here it is. Here is the actual thing that happened. This past Sunday at Bound for Glory, Austin Aries lost his Impact World title to Johnny Impact in what many are saying is one of the biggest rivalries in quite some time. After Johnny hit Aries with his finisher, the Starship Pain, for the win, Aries jumped right back up, walked out of the ring, swearing and flipping off fans. Further reports claim that Aries spit in Ed Nordum, who is president of Impact Wrestling, in the face while in the back. And as out of this post, there are still a lot of unanswered questions. Is Aries' anger legit? What is the source of the problem? Is it management? Which wouldn't surprise me, because this is Impact Wrestling. And there was, like the rumor suggests, Aries having personal problems with Johnny Impact. Lance, we've seen stuff like this erupt in wrestling. Aries and Impact are not the first ones. Brett and Shawn have had the biggest, I think, the most documented fights of all time behind the scenes.
Yeah, but then again, I was listening to the Jim Cornette Experience this morning, and this ain't exactly something new when it comes to Mr. Aries. He was an asshole even in the back when he was working for Corny in ROH. So he's kind of known for being a prick backstage. So, and from what I hear, it's not just he walked away being unprofessional from Impact. He's done with Impact, from what I'm understanding.
Well, that's, again, I see it that it's he is the kind of this God complex that he thinks he should always be the man, and apparently that's not the case. So
he lives his gimmick as the greatest man ever apparently.
And again, it's just, it's a sad thing. Over in the HWR show, George says Riddle was, as of October 20th, 2012, it was announced that Riddle had failed his post-fight drug test, testing positive for marijuana. Riddle was subsequently fined and suspended for 90 days, retroactive July 21st, 2012. His win over Clemens was changed to a no contest. On February 26, 2013, Riddle revealed that he had tested positive for marijuana. This was his second failed drug test within a year. I guess he's following the Van Damme syndrome. Riddle, and Riddle was substantially released from the promotion. Wicket says he was tested positive for cucumber, Lance.
Herbie, not now, bruh. Not now.
Stop playing with the cucumber right now, okay? You know, you can go in the closet and you can play with all the cucumber all you want.
or maybe have Crazy Tracy do that, Herbie.
Anyway.
All right, let's go. Go ahead, Lance. I mean, Andy.
Is it just me? Austin Aries has been in and out of Impact more than Dixie's tampon.
No shit, huh?
Yeah.
And you know what?
Point there.
Yeah, he does have a good point there. You know what? I gotta say this, Andy. You know, Aries is never happy unless he's in the top spot, and what he don't realize is
Austin Aries, in his own mind, thinks he's better than AJ Styles. He's not a bad wrestler, to be perfectly honest, but he's got no charisma, and he hasn't got it. He's a good wrestler. You can tell when somebody's got it and he hasn't got it.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know,
he's won the X Division Championship a couple of times, I believe.
Yeah.
He's
He's
been
also
TNA
Impact
champion. Yeah, he's won titles in Ring of... He's won titles everywhere he's been, but he's just like, at best, a mid-carder. He tries his best, but his best's just not good enough. I don't know whether it's because he's small or his attitude. I don't exactly know what it is, but I enjoy watching wrestle, but I wouldn't pay like $5 to go just see him in a match with somebody else, because it doesn't interest me that much.
You know, I'm going to toss this one to Kayla. You know, do you think his attitude got a little bit more inflated since he was also in WrestleMania?
Oh, extremely, definitely, 100%. I mean, this guy is constantly, you know, he brings up all these championships that he's ever held. He's got a gigantic freaking ego. It's just, he's going to burn a lot of bridges, more than what he's already burned, if he doesn't watch out.
Well, as of right now, it looks like he did burn his last bridge, and when you spit on the president of the company, that's kind of a grounds that you're never coming back. I guarantee if you did that to Vince McMahon, he would never work anywhere.
Exactly.
He'll be making $25 at indie shows. All right.
Maybe a hot dog.
Speaking about indie shows, and I'm going to toss this one to Kayla real quick. Excuse me, Zoe. Bloodshed at an indie event this past weekend during an indie show in Chillicothe, Ohio. Things got a little bit bloody, to say the least. Apparently, several fans jumped the rail, which set off a huge fight between fans and wrestlers. One fan, Big Alabowski, started the wrestling, stared at the wrestler and started to challenge him to get in the ring. He was a wrestler. He started daring fans to jump in the ring. And I believe he did a shoot promo. And that's when the chaos started. Albolsky mentioned that the police arrived as well. And after the smoke was clear, everybody was covered in blood. And what happened, what I find really kind of crazy, Zoe, is this. What wrestler in their mind all comes out in white shirts?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That stood out a lot to me, is the fact they all came out in white shirts. And I think several of the fans, correct me if I'm wrong, had plain white shirts as well. So it's like, okay, was this actually a work that they're trying to pass it off as a shoot, or what's going on? But now, Bloodshed at an independent wrestling show, for everybody listening out there, whenever you go to a show, you need to keep one thing in mind. If I am a heel and I'm in there and you're talking smack, I'm going to dare you to get in the ring, not thinking you're going to be that dumb to actually do it. If you cross that barrier, you are free game if you touch a wrestler. And let me tell you, you got the whole damn locker room that's going to come out and fight for their brother or sister.
Well, if I can kick in real quick, I mean, like you said, you dare, even as a heel, you want to dare them to come in. Eventually you're going to find that one person. So, with all due respect, in that one aspect, that's kind of puts the wrestler at fault. You know,
Well,
Ric Flair.
I try to stay away from that phrase right there. I do try to stay away from it.
You know,
Real quick, over in the HWR chat room, we got Herbie also there, and Mrs. A from BC Games says more. She just she just arrived there, so it's kind of crazy. Yes, I think this was kind of a work because why would everybody be wearing white shirts to make it really stand out? I can understand if everybody came out wearing the black, the blues, and their regular T-shirts, and this was a bloody thing. Then I could see something different. But I think this was all staged, and I think this is something that maybe they could set up and say it was a rival promotion that came in, and they thought it was fans, and I don't know. My biggest complaint about this thing is, regardless if it's a face or heel, like Zoe said, if she's a heel, she's gonna challenge you. I said the same thing. It would happen to me too, but it's something else. But I think if you step in the ring, you Gorgon, kind of inviting people to make that step in. You're going to have people that are going to be stupid enough to do that, and kids are going to see that, and it's going to cause a clusterfuck. I was at a Jersey Hall Pro Wrestling show really long time ago, and I have to say that the wrestlers started fighting outside, and a fan got involved. And they all brawled all over the place. Now, I had to pull my kids aside because these guys were just fighting all over the place and not watching where they were going. So I had to push other kids aside and say, "Hey, get out of here! Grab your kids, move." That's not an environment if you want to make a successful company. So, but let's toss it around. What about you, Lance?
well, if it was just a bunch of plants and it was a work and all that, good for them. But this is just how I've always understood it. It's kind of like going to a football game. During a football game, you jump on that football field, that's your ass. Mm-hmm. And if you jump during a professional wrestling show, you cross that barricade, again, it's your ass. So they took their ass into their own hands and it got handed to them, so they got what they deserved.
Absolutely. And again, this is just a thing that looks phony, it looks set up, because why would everybody be wearing white shirts? It's just beyond me. But
it looks like a bunch of plants.
Yeah, it could have been a bunch of plants, and we know about that. It's again, it is something that I don't know. I don't pay. I think this is a set work, but I think it's a lousy work. Nobody ever wants to see that at a show. Let's go to you, Andy.
Was Byron, whatever his name is there, with his blood capsules, handing them out?
Oh, Saxton.
Yeah, Byron Saxton had those blood capsules. So, jeez.
I mean, I'm sure we've all been out at night drinking, and you see a pub brawl, and yeah, you might see somebody with a split lip or a bloody nose, but the t-shirt's never covered in blood.
Exactly.
Yeah. Those, even if two of people are bleeding like that, forget it. You'd be at death's door, let alone not worrying about a white shirt that's soaked. This is ridiculous. And I think another thing is, if you're doing that kind of fight and you start that chaos, that's it. It's just going to be one huge battle. I wouldn't be surprised, like you said, if there are plants that manage to make it over the ring, or however they played it out. All we know is just that people were supposedly covered in blood.
Yeah.
Think that of what you will.
The only thing I don't understand, the big Albowski, whatever his name is, isn't that like Valbowski, which is a bit of a rip-off of Val Venus? I'm surprised Val Venus didn't jump over and kick his ass.
Well, then again, Val Venus is too busy off somewhere getting stoned.
Yeah.
Or making porno movies.
If he's lucky. All right, but again, I think something like that, again, me being an old school promoter, I would never book something like that, because regardless of the situation, you have other fans that are going to say, "Whoa, I'm never coming back here again if this shit's going to happen." So it's kind of a bad setup with this whole thing, and hopefully they looked at it as a bad idea and decided to move on. Speaking about moving on, we're gonna move on to our next topic. Apparently, Hoboken Man, it wants to take on the face of the place, AJ Styles. So, and I'm talking about Shawn Michaels. You know, he can't go around keep calling himself the Heartbreak Kid. He's the, you know.
Oh no, you know what? We can use HBK. He's gonna call him Has Been Kick Shoe.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better, because here is this guy who's his eyes are crossed. He's losing his hair. Even if his body was still in good, phenomenal shape, he's not the Heartbreak Kid anymore. He can't do this. And for him to go up and take on AJ Styles at WrestleMania 35, that's the rumors going around. I think that's...
Is it just me? But when you see HBK dancing down the ring, he's like somebody with a G-string up his ass.
That's probably what he has to use to keep him moving. Or he has Shinsuke Nakamura hit him in the nuts a couple of times just to keep him moving.
So much you'll never see me in the ring again.
You know, and I said this before, when your time is come and your time is gone, move on. Especially for someone like AJ Styles. You know, AJ doesn't need this supposed match with Shawn Michaels. You know, he needs to keep doing what he's doing, taking on the roster, giving phenomenal, no pun intended, matches. We don't want to see this. You know, I personally don't want to see Has-Been Michaels go out there and try to shake himself off with songs that have been used since the 90s. You know, it's time for him to move on. Let's go to you, Rick. What do you think about Has-Been Michaels?
Well, I think the fact is, like I said, when he came back and he started the whole promo for Triple H, Undertaker was like Super Showdown, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And once Undertaker, chokeslammed him, or Kane chokeslammed him the first time, I'm like, oh great, this is going to be a singles match, Triple H versus Taker, and then it's going to wind up being a tag team at Crown Jewel. And, that's like being predictable, saying water's wet.
Yeah, we kind of actually even said that will happen.
And I'm sorry, but, I really don't want to see him in the ring. And so I most certainly do not want to see AJ Styles. If it was 5 or 10 years ago, if HBK was younger, 5 or 10 years younger, then yes, absolutely. But I don't think it's needed. All it's going to do is just going to make AJ Styles look like a complete, knob end, as Andy would say, because HBK would have to get the win.
Well, and then the pace of the match will have to slow down a bit, because he is not the same Shawn Michaels, as you said, 10, 20 years ago. Let's go to you, Andy. Speaking of which, what do you think about that?
I think it's a step back for AJ, to be perfectly honest. I don't know why AJ would need to even warranty having a match with Shawn. Shawn should have stuck to his word. And I've been reading some various bits and bobs about Shawn Michaels, and I thought, you're just clutching at straws now. One of the comments he's been making in various little interviews that he's been making, I never said I'd stay away. What I did say is, I'd stay away unless it was really necessary for me to come back. Fighting Undertaker was not necessary. Sorry.
Absolutely. Over in the HWR chat room, Mrs. A says, I'm concerned that the WWE brass keeps going back to the Attitude Era stars to hold them up. The new guys like AJ should really be pissed that they are not trusted to carry the company. And she makes a good point, Lance. They bringing back the Attitude guys, and I know some of these people, not AJ, not some of the other top performers, but some of these workers can't carry a promo to save their life. But when WWE goes back to the Attitude Era, it's kind of like, okay, well, we can't depend on new people you know, we can't depend on new people to carry this. We're gonna have to bring these old fossils back.
Yeah, and before I give my judgment on whether or not this singles match should happen, I'm gonna wait to see exactly what kind of shape he's in at Crown Jewel. Because honestly, 8 years, we don't know what kind of shape he's gonna be in. But yeah, this ain't a good look that they keep. Then again, they've been bringing back the old guys for how long? Do you remember when it was like Rock every 5 seconds? Then it was bringing back who the hell?
Well, then they brought back guys like Jericho.
Yeah.
They brought guys like Batista once in a while.
And they just brought him back to 1,000.
Yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
That promo. I hate to say it, but I like a better Drax, the Drax than Batista today. He was trying so hard he could not sell the fucking promo. It was like, oh my God, my ears are burning. I literally had to leave the room.
You know what's funny? That's what happens.
What we gonna have at WrestleMania? What we gonna have at WrestleMania 35? What's it gonna be? Is it like Lonely Virgil against Hulk Hogan?
No, that's how it was. The rumor we were talking about is Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles, and it's a rumor.
Why? Everybody else at WrestleMania has fought to get to WrestleMania. The reason to be at WrestleMania. What reason has Shawn Michaels got being at WrestleMania? What? Because he was a big star once. Emphasis on the word once.
Well, Mrs. A, this is what she had to say about the whole situation. Shawn Michaels coming back. She said first, the new guys can't carry the company the way the Attitude Era guys could, making the same level of money. Then maybe Vince should rethink the new G-rated style show. And Carrie, I have to agree with you absolutely. WWE needs to be able to color outside those lines. I understand they're trying to do a family show, but you've got to add that little bit extra flair, and that's why I think the Attitude Era made it what it was, is because they didn't care. Open it up, say what you got to say, and that's again because WWE was in competitive mode. Once they bought out Impact, once they bought out WCW, the game was over. No pun intended, and Carrie eventually followed up with, even if it kept the G-rated, at least went back to guys cutting their own promos and descripting every word. I have to agree with you, Carrie, on some level, but some people, unfortunately, just can't carry a promo, let alone execute one. Unfortunately, you need those certain talents to have their handheld or get a mouthpiece. So, and very few people have that gift of gab.
Yeah, and you got to remember too, at the era when it came to the Attitude Era, pretty much every worker in there, from Undertaker to Stone Cold to Michaels to you name it, were all proven wrestlers, and they were known. They were kind of pushed more into the spotlight, and they was like, you know what? Vince threw his hands up in the air and says, "Screw it, we're losing the war. We're gonna just let it go and see what happens." Today, with no real competition, and Impact is not competition, and Ring of Honor is not competition, Vince really sets back. And with the guys they have now, while they're phenomenal workers, they can't cut a promo to save their life. The only ones that you could say that really know how to cut promos have been there for so long that fans are like, okay, we want to see something else. Over in HWR's show, Terry says, well, it depends on the kind of mouthpiece they are. Exactly. Right now, Lance, the only one who has a mouthpiece right now is Bobby Lashley or Biggie Webster.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm going to just say, Leo Rush, he's got the gift of a gab, but the problem is he has an open mic while the show is going around. Now, obviously, I guess it's Vince McMahon that's feeding these lines, or that's the rumor, but with the microphone, it's annoying as hell. If he wanted to do a promo before, or in ring kind of promo thing, then I would get it. it's almost like a really bad version of what Jimmy Hart was doing with the headset, the microphone or
The megaphone.
The megaphone. He can make a few statements, keep going, but it's like Leo Rush just can't shut his fucking mouth for 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, we get you trying to be cool and trying to be an antagonizer, and he has.
But he's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's go to you, Zoe, on this. You just said it. He tries to be too hard, and I think they're just trying to grasp at straws at this moment.
Right, I didn't mean to cut you off with that, Rich. I mean, you were saying like a whole lot of stuff I agree on. I mean, Leo is trying way too hard to the point that it is just annoying. I mean, he was funny at first, but now it's the entire damn match. Lashley. It's like, shut the fuck up and let's watch it, for crying out loud.
Yeah, let's go to you, Andy. What do you think about Leo Rush and this situation right now?
I agree with what Carrie said in the chat room. WWE are relying too much on the older people. I mean, look at the main event so far in the Divas matches, Lita and Chris Stratus.
Well, I don't mind seeing those two.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, WWE is way too hard on nostalgia. But like I said, Leo Rush has potential. Just got to tone it down.
Yeah.
But I think.
Well, we're going to move on to another topic here. Let's go with you on this, Lance. Former WWE diva claims she was sexually harassed in the WWE. Which diva hasn't been sexually harassed by the big man himself? This time it is former WWE wrestler Shelly Martinez, who, for you that don't know, she was Ariel back in the rebranded ECW. She was with that vampire guy. She was mostly known for having the big boobs. I think that's pretty much what she was. Was a recent guest on Vince Russo's podcast when she accused WWE of covering up several sexual harassment problems. Martinez targeted with the late Umaga that she accused him of attempting to rape her. In short, Martinez stated that there was a group in the male roster that had a betting pool of who would it be the first one to get in bed with her. Martinez said that there were others that harassed her, but she didn't remember the names. It's kind of like that one lady, who I'm not going to mention, who remembers her being raped but doesn't remember when, where, or why. Because she was suppressed, because she suppressed her memories. According to Martinez, Umaga was the most aggressive of them all. You know what? And that's kind of... Ariel was with the other vampire guy, not with Gangrel. Anybody remembers that guy? His name? Kevin Thorne. Kevin Thorne. It was Kevin Thorne.
Yeah.
It was Kevin Thorne.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even remember this chick. And the funny thing is, well, I can't say it's really funny. I mean, when it comes to sexual harassment, it's never funny. But what I find weird is the fact is that she couldn't remember any other names. She just remembered somebody who was, passed away where he couldn't defend himself. And I think, back then, yeah, WWE was still kind of running rampant on the women's division, which is very few kind of got the pass of the, or was left over. But, it's just in the past couple of years where WWE said, look, we can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah, they kind of had to rein in because of the Me Too movement and other stuff. Imagine if all the shit that actually happened got out and there was proof, Vince will have to shut down because they will really get out, on the situations and sexual harassment in any form, male or female, because it happens to males. Just ask John Cena. It's not a funny thing, and if Shelly Martinez felt like this was going to happen, why don't what gets me? And I'm not making fun of anybody, but if you've been sexually harassed and you've been abused, which is a horrible, horrible thing, don't wait fucking 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Go on and go fucking make a report about it. Let them figure out if it happened or not. Don't hold back, and then when the person passes away or it's late in the person's career or whatever, you come up and say, hey, guess what? This thing happened. I'm going to harken back to a different thing, but it's kind of in the same principle. Jimmy Snuka, when he killed that woman, why did they wait so long to finally put him on trial? Because they know he can't do the superfly leap off a cell? Get it when it happened and fucking run with it. I don't understand people. But anyway, I digress. Let's go to you, Lance.
Well, she's got 3 strikes against her. 1, accusing a dead guy. 2, can't remember who the hell else was there. And 3, announcing it on Russo?
Yeah, that's a bad thing there.
Well,
straight up bullshit.
But that's Vince Russo for you. He has to get all the disgruntled, and he brings them on there because, again, he tries to play the shock jock. I'm sorry, Russo, but, your time was over. Once you left WWE, that was it. And even his podcast, I can only listen to him for like 5 minutes before I fucking start getting the itches like I'm a fucking heroin addict.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Over in the HWS show, Terry says John Cena was sexually harassed by who? Vince? No, by Nikki Bella.
No. I'm sure Cena had no problem, like fucking her. But yeah, being sexually harassed, it would probably be Pat Patterson. That's where he got ruthless aggression.
That's actually all those poor ring boys who had to deal with old Pat. Let's go to you, Zoe.
Oh, God. Touchy subject. I mean, I don't want to say that I believe her. I don't want to say that I don't believe her because I wasn't there. You know what I mean? And in the wrestling business as a girl, inappropriate comments can be made, inappropriate touching can be made. Not saying it's happened to me, thank God, but I've heard the stories. I mean, I can't say yes or no on this, considering her track record, and none of us was there, and the fact that she's accusing someone who can't defend himself.
Yeah.
And here's another ironic thing. And again, like you said, when it comes to rape or sexual harassment, it doesn't matter. But the funny thing was when I was trying, when I was figuring who she was, because again, I vaguely remember her. She was a filmography. If I look at her filmography, and she was in what's called a light BSDM porn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, so again, when it comes to any kind of harassment, but
yeah,
and now half of our audience is looking on Pornhub.
Yeah, and one of the things, even for me, when I ran a promotion, I made sure the women were protected. They changed in a separate spot. The men were not allowed back there, and I made sure of that. And I told the girls, this is purely professional. Do not, do stuff inappropriate. That something can happen. And I made it very clear.
Exactly. My promoter is the same way, and I thank him for that.
Yep, and that's why I think I got a good, relationship with certain females in the business, because they knew when I was there, it's business. Now, you want to have anything at the end, that's totally different. And my wife is calling, so Rick, take over. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I stepped away for a second. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So apparently, Nikki Bella was some kind of Comic-Con Midwest, and that was Chicago. And a fan asked Bella about, how she felt about AJ Lee not being at Evolution. In short, she said, I was hoping she would be a part of Evolution. AJ was a huge part of the women's division. I'd love to wrestle again. We have good chemistry. I felt that our feud with her and Paige really helped the Evolution, so it would be fun. Now, I can almost see why AJ Lee would not want to do the Evolution. I mean, I'm sure maybe her heart might want to, but she has a loyalty to her husband, and that could be an issue. What I find funny is that WWE never really wanted to give AJ Lee the proper credit for saying she's the one who gave the shot across the bow. She said, you know what, give Divas a chance. And if it wasn't for that, that's where it started. I said earlier that Stephanie McMahon obviously heard that, and she realized, I think being a woman, especially being in power that she has, is starting to make that happen. We're seeing that over the past year and a half. Andy, I'm going to kick it over to you.
The thing I don't understand is the fans either trying to get her to admit that AJ Lee is going to be at Evolution, or she hasn't done her own work. Because if you look on the internet for the last 6 to 12 weeks, she's been in talks with WWE. So that tells me that she's on the brink of going back, and what better time to go back? Evolution, even if it's for a one night only. She's been in talks with them for 12 weeks. Doesn't take you 12 weeks to say no. Takes you 12 weeks to negotiate a contract.
Well,
true.
There is another thing too. They just did or are doing a documentary based on her too.
Is that WWE Studios or WWE itself?
Nope, WWE Studios.
Interesting. Well, Joe, as Andy said, that she's been talking about for 12 weeks, and obviously we know that Punk is not really on the best of terms with the WWE. But you got to wonder if should AJ Lee kind of make that return, you think maybe they could rebuild that bridge between Punk and WWE?
I think they already did rebuild it because he was in one of their movies. They just did a WWE. He was in a WWE studio
Correct.
movie.
He's doing a second one, but again, that's WWE Studios.
It's still, regardless of anything, it's still the WWE. And
so you could say the same thing with XFL.
Yeah, you know what? I think in a case like this, it's Vince. Regardless of what name the brand is under, you're still going to have to deal with Vince or someone in the main corporation. This is not something that, if Punk is there in the studios, I'm sure Triple H, I'm sure Vince, I'm sure somebody from the high up is going to be there and say, hey, Punk, how you doing? And I'm sure the negotiations, if there was no negotiations whatsoever, and Punk was really that bitter, why would he do a WWE studio movie?
One, because he's not doing good in UFC, and I still honestly don't think when it comes to the wrestling aspect, I think he's just done. Maybe he got a good offer. I know very few WWE studios that were really good ones, and most of them were the earlier ones. John Cena's a Marine, that was a decent one. I liked the first 12 rounds. The second one was horrible. I know that there was See No Evil with Kane, but I never watched it.
Both fantastic films.
Yeah.
So again, I think he could do the whole acting thing, and WWE is doing the other shit. So he's not going to interact with Vince or Triple H or this or that. It's going to be a completely different group of people. It's just under the WWE flag.
You know what? And I'm sure when he walks down that room, I'm sorry, but I've been in the business for a long time, and there's always a theme called never say never. No matter what, never say that you'll never go back. When you need the money, Lord knows Ric Flair has done it many times. We've seen Goldberg do it. We've seen Sting do it. We've seen, John Boy, we've seen Hogan, we've seen, when the time comes and you need money, I'm sure Punk is going to go in there. Once everybody laughs at his UFC career, he's going to go in there and he's going to say, you know what? Hell, I think I'm going to have to go back to wrestling. Because you do get that itch. You do get that hunger to go back, and especially if you were a champion and you're a name. I think Punk, after a while, he'll do it, and I'm sure AJ will goad him back into it because I can't believe he's that disgruntled with it. He already has to be past that point. I don't know if anybody else had commented yet because I just got back.
One thing I can see about CM Punk, I don't know how long WWE are trying to bring this DX feud thing back, whether it's going to run to WrestleMania or not. Who has had a real big hate for Triple H?
Oh,
Yeah, him. I remember that after Punk left.
Yeah, I mean, what better person to cripple DX than CM Punk?
No, I don't think it's going to go that way.
He'll come back with his fraction like he did when he originally started. He'll come back with a fraction just to break him off, if he's going to come back at all.
Honestly, I don't think that would happen. Punk, again, it's his ego. Him and Triple H claims he doesn't have any problems with him, but Punk clearly has no love lost for Triple H.
I just think regenerating. Well, that's a big word. Regenerating Degeneration X is a bit of a piss take.
I agree.
DX was at least 5 members. Now there's only 2. That's like saying we're going to bring back the 4 Horsemen, but there's only going to be 2 of us.
Well, in all the defense, Andy, when they started it, it was 2. It was just Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Then they brought China, and when Shawn left, Triple H rebranded the group and got X-Pac and then the New Age Outlaws. And I think so. The originals will always be that more respected for that. It's like the original Road Warriors.
The only thing is, as Carrie put earlier, they're trying to go for this children-orientated WWE. I'm sorry, nothing that DX does are children-orientated.
Well, now there is, of course. I mean, clearly we're not going to see Shawn Michaels or Triple H shove a huge sausage down in their trunks or play strip poker in the middle of the ring or do all those completely, TVMA promos. Just not going to happen. Especially now with Triple H being older, he's more, so now he's a father of, a few young girls. So, again, that's where his morals or his higher moral starts to completely change again.
WWE should have learnt the lesson when they've got these unicorn dildo wearing knobheads walking down to the ring every fucking week.
Well, remember, now they no longer...
That sort of sense of humour doesn't work anymore.
Well, and that's why they're going back to the old ways, because they realize their numbers are failing, and I think they need to come up with something better. You know what? Let's move on because we're wasting time here. JBL defends the WWE going to Saudi Arabia. Since the disappearance of the Saudi journalist Khashoggi, WWE has been under scrutiny as they still plan to go forward with their Crown Jewel event on November 2nd. Former WWE champion John Layfield spoke to Fox Business. Regarding the situation, he agreed that WWE should still go to Saudi Arabia. JBL has then been targeted by U.S. senators that WWE going to Saudi Arabia was, they were against the whole concept. And he says, for these guys, state senators, to hide behind their patriotism and show their flag waving to me, I tried not to improve their missile approval ratings to me. It's wrong. WWE has been at the forefront of change, and they want to change Saudi Arabia. Yet they want something. You want to send WWE there. In other words, Diaz had it saying that, fuck you. We're still going because we're being paid. That's the bottom line. There's nothing else. Vince is not patriotic. He doesn't give a shit. It's all about the money, and which it should be. Here's a prince that's giving you a lot of money. It's not a Nigerian prince who's scamming your money. This is a legitimate Saudi prince who's running a country And if he's giving you money like the galore, you're going to run regardless of the political climate. What I can see why people are kind of upset is because Linda McMahon works for the Trump administration. They probably say, hey, you know what, this is a bad idea. But when it comes down to it, the WWE is a business. And every business has a right to do whatever they want. If they want to go against the backlash and say, hey, we're going regardless, it's not because of anything, not because they want to build the gap, they want to bring world peace. No, fuck that. They want to gain money. Let's go to you, Andy, about that.
Well, I agree with what JBL said. I don't like the guy, but I agree with what JBL said. What the hell's it got to do with the state senators? It's like, in England, we're going through this Brexit thing at the moment. And we had 2 wars with Germany and kicked their arse. But for the last 30 odd, almost 40 years, we've been sucking up to them in this Brexit, the European market. It's got nothing at all to do with the WWE, what's gone on with this. All we've heard about is a journalist has been murdered on their soil. Does anyone know what the journalist's actually done? Because you don't just murder somebody for doing journalism. What's he been poking his nose in that he shouldn't have been poking his nose in? Shouldn't they be looking into that before the Americans turn around and say, well, if we find out you've murdered him, we're going to boot your arse. I'd like to see America take on Saudi Arabia, because they will lose.
Oh yeah, and not because of weapon-wise, not because of army-wise, because of the money. You know, Saudi Arabia is one of the biggest contributors to the United States. And if they do anything that's wrong, Saudis can pull their money out. And you know what? I'm a big patriotic guy. I believe in the USA. I don't believe, you know, I have my beliefs, and I believe people like illegals should stay in their country. Like, what's his name?
Cian Almas?
Yeah, he should be, you know, booted out. But, again, you know what? But it's all about money. It's not a big deal. Let's go to you, Rick. What do you think? You brought up the Almas names. Deport.
Oh, God. You know, well, first and foremost, I don't know if he was confirmed dead. Last time I was read is that he was missing and assumed dead.
I think they guessed that they said he was dead now.
Oh, so it has been finalized. Did they say how he was murdered, or you know how it happened, or is it still shit in the air? Because the last I read. But all right.
On the English news, we are led to believe that there's footage of him going in the building, no footage of him coming out, but some gung ho, as they put it, political people shot him while he was in the building. The Saudi government, although it was in a government building, didn't agree with the shooting, but these people were a bit naughty. So they've not denied it on English TV. They've not denied killing him. They just will not give this gung-ho person who took things into his own hands and shot the guy.
Well, and again,
all I can say is, what the hell was he doing for the... If you report about a Saudi Arabian oil sheik, something that is not nice, he's going to make sure that you disappear.
Yeah. And, you know, Joe, I have to agree with you. Clearly, this is all about money. I mean, the Saudi country is, Arabia is investing $45 million. That's, no chump change. So,
yeah, I mean, if somebody gave me $45 million, I'd suck a black man's cock.
You did that on the weekend anyway.
Oh, Jesus.
It's all for business.
Yeah. Okay.
Take one for the team, Andy.
One of the most things that when I heard JBL say this, and it really, to me, was like almost an insult. He's saying that WWE is going to be the one that starts mending those bridges between the USA, and I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? I'm like, that's like saying that fucking, they're going to bring Dairy Queen down there and it's going to bring world peace. I'm sorry.
And invite Jim Cornette to mediate that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You buy.
Governments, make treaties and pieces with the politicians, not with businesses. I don't care how big you are.
Absolutely. Let's go to you, Lance.
Well, it's kind of like this right here. All right. Eric Bischoff said it best. Controversy creates cash. And this is some big time controversy right here. So I think Vince is hoping and praying, but this ain't a good look for him. But yeah.
He's got to get some money for his XFL, which is going to fail.
Yeah.
Again.
No shit.
And you know what's funny here is, any money that he makes, and I look at Zoe, when I asked Zoe this question too, if your promoter went up to, somebody went up to your promoter and say, hey, I'm going to give you this amount of money to perform in my area, I'm sure he's going to jump at the chance and grab everybody and go.
Well, yeah, he definitely would, but if something like this was going down in that area, I do see my promoter saying, risking my workers' lives and their families' lives is just not worth that much money.
And that's another point. We don't know how, already we know that, saying a lot of American citizens are really against this. So you got to wonder if that's going to, hurt viewerships. And God forbid, let's say there's some Saudi extremists who, God forbid, they come down on their soil and, either try to hurt or even kill some of the WWE stars. You got to think about that for a minute.
Well,
exactly, because of JBL saying WWE will be the one to mend everything.
I don't think it's necessarily that. Like I said, and I'm not saying that, they're all terrorists, but, you do have a few people, and I don't care, every country, that's really extremists. That, you're either coming on my land or you're talking about me and shit. Even America is notorious for that, where racism runs rampant in this country a lot, and then I think in Saudi Arabia, you don't know how that's going to react or how certain people are going to react. But clearly WWE is comfortable going down there, so it's something to think about, but not necessarily something that will happen.
Yeah, you know what? And with the security they probably have for them, they're gonna make sure that these guys guys, because the girls are not allowed allowed to go down there, and they are make sure that they, are well taken care of. And I'm sure they sweep the arena 3 or 4 times. I'm sure Vince will make sure that that's gonna happen. Over in HWR show, Terry says, and Andy should look up Pat Patterson, when you made your comments before taking that one for the team. But
yeah, but he hasn't got a black one as his white last time I looked.
You were looking?
Well, someone in on them investigations.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Finally, folks, we're going to go into the last topic of tonight. Reed Flair's Charlotte Flair's ex-husband files a lawsuit. According to TMZ, Charlotte Flair's ex-husband, Ricky Paul Johnson, what a fucking name.
That's
kind of like Bram. I mean, who thinks of that one too?
Yeah, exactly. I might as well go back to using Bram. Has filed a lawsuit against Charlotte, Ric Flair, and the WWE, and is seeking more than $5 million in damages. Apparently, Charlotte wrote in her book, Second Nature, that Ricky was sterile. Charlotte also wrote that she suffered physical and mental abuse. I think it's the other way around. If he saw her naked, and throughout their marriage of 2010 to 2011, Johnson claims allegations were false and humiliated his family.
Why would he humiliate his family if he was sterile? Was his mum upset that she couldn't get pregnant off him or something?
No, I don't know.
Why would your parents give 2 shits if you were sterile?
That's a good point.
I'm sorry, my son can't get a wood.
Each family is different. Now, unfortunately, some are more fucked up than others. So, you might have that family that's like, we want to have grandkids, and then, if he is sterile, which apparently I guess he says he has 3 kids. So I don't know. Yeah, like I said, if she was physical therapy, she suffered this kind of abuse, and what she said is somewhat truthful. It's not really defamation of character. It's he said this, he did this.
Well, it's basically he said, she said.
Correct.
And
I can't.
No, wait a minute.
I mean, if you
said he said.
yeah,
I mean, if you read Charlotte's book Second Nature, she basically says he had no cream in his cock.
Wow. Really? That's how she said that was that wording?
And after that sentence, she said, "Woo!"
Oh, God.
That's what he used to do when he was
what the
coming.
fuck?
That's what he used to do when he was coming. Woo! Give me big ball.
Andy, how would you know?
I've been there. I've seen the videos.
Oh God! And you're not blind like Stevie Wonder from there.
Well.
Anyway, let's move on. Ricky also said, "Oh shit, let me just call him Bram." Bram is also holding the WWE liable for allowing the book to be published. WWE quickly responded to the allegations. WWE stated the following: "We recently received what appears to be a meritless lawsuit, and we will vigorously defend ourselves."
Yeah, vigorously whacking themselves off just to produce some semen, more like. We can do it.
I think what ends up here, and I'm going to toss it to.
Toss it.
Well, you don't expect me to say fling it. Well, fling it is always direction, but it just seems to be like two people who they try to have a relationship. It failed. They got at each other. One is jealous of the other one's career, and one is probably jealous that he can wear a better jock strap than Bram.
I want to clear one thing up. This is not Bram who is in the suit, because Bram's real name is Thomas Rain Lappner.
Okay, so
Reed
married a second person?
Yeah, this is
because I know she had a relationship with Bram. Okay, that was my bad. I didn't know his real name.
To him. Just this ain't the one that's suing him.
Oh, okay, so he's nobody then. He's a no-namer.
Yeah, Zoe.
Hey, but shame and embarrassment of his family. Oh my God, that tells me this guy. He's just looking for money. Yeah. He's probably gonna take a really quick settlement. If they save, $150, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. The only thing you'll take this money, but you're gonna have to allow that's what's written in the book. And definitely. Zoe, we poke fun at Charlotte all the time. We call him Reed, but
because that is a man.
Yeah, we found Captain Winky. But you know what? This is just I'm thinking this is just somebody just cashing in on right now on Charlotte's popularity.
Well, to me, he's an idiot. Because think about it. Look at all these times that attorneys have gotten WWE and Rick Flair out of sticky situations like this.
He's never been in a sticky situation. He's filing blanks.
Yeah.
I just think that he's...
No, they just changed those outright empty.
Go ahead, Zoe. Don't worry, the guys are just flinging it everywhere.
Oh, yeah. But I feel like it's going to be a waste of his time, a waste of his money, and he's not going to get a damn thing.
You know what? They'll get into it back and forth, and I'm sure WWE will make a little settlement with him. And I mean little.
I can imagine him standing in the courtroom and the judge throws over a box of tissues and she says, don't get your penis out, Mr. Johnson, that's for wipe your eyes on. We don't want a sperm sample.
Yeah.
Oh my
I can prove that her testimony is false. He drops his pants, stands on top of a table and starts jerking off.
Yeah, where's Susan Coleman's tits now? I'll show you breast awareness week.
Yep. Notice, everyone, that Rick is quiet because he's letting the inmates go at it.
Sorry, I was checking out some recent news. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I completely missed the joke. If there was a joke, I missed it.
But anyway.
Yeah, it was on that Susan Coleman, whatever her name is, the breast awareness woman.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
God.
Whoop-de-doo, look at me, I've not got breast cancer anymore. But you're not a real woman, you've got no tits.
Susan D. Coleman for a
Wow.
All right. Lance, what about you?
Well, first, hey, if to prove the fraud thing, I don't want to be when they have to prove that. That's just me. But what would a man care about if another man's sterile or not?
I don't know. In this case, again, I think the guy is just looking to cash in real quick. Rick,
I mean, it's not like he could knock up Reed.
oh God, who wants to? You know, let's take a step back here. You know,
I'll have a good go.
yeah, right.
Every player, okay.
You know,
something. Okay.
There are women in the sport that look really good. You know, we look at Amber Moon, we look at Asuka, we look at Becky. By the way, everybody, you know, there is an injury. Becky has a cracked jawbone that might hamper her going to Evolution. So, depends if she has to forfeit the title because of that. We don't know yet, but they said that she's been wrestling with a cracked jawbone, and I think that's fucking kind of painful if you got a cracked jawbone.
If
No
it's
double
cracked,
agree there.
it's now keep in mind, folks, that Evolution is 1 week from this Sunday. If it's cracked or injured, forget it. And you know what? That kind of sucks. You know, that's like a Seth Rollins situation where you're getting ready to headline WrestleMania, only get injured. And it's just like, yeah, that's a really bad timing, unfortunately. That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
The Bells weren't behind that, were they?
Didn't she just work well? I mean, SmackDown 1000.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, but the word is that she's working hurt, and if it keeps going and going, then it's going to actually have to. It's going to have to come down to her losing, having to forfeit that title, because I'm sure that must be painful working with a cracked jawbone, because that, you know, that's not funny. You know, that's a bad injury, especially in a vital area where you do have to open and close your mouth, and if you get hit, you know, that's like a jaw rattle right there. So, you know, we will have to see. Hopefully everything turns out well for that. But you know what? We're coming to the end of the show. We've poked fun enough of Reeves and his Captain Winky. We've harassed the Bellas. We've done everything possible. I think one thing I gotta say is when Ronda did do that shoot, that promo, I'm sure when she says that the door she's broken down with John Cena, I'm sure everybody had to have that point in and says, yep, that's, we all know that's the joke that goes around. Sure, go ahead. You know, I'm sure she said it in that like flippant manner. But I'm hoping the Bellas get hurt, and I hope that they get out of the business because they need to go. And I hate to say that, but yes, you know, we do have Crown Jewel coming up. NXT is going to be coming up with a show. Evolution is going to be right around the corner. So we've got a couple of things going on. Thank you, Jason Michael Campbell. He gave us a thumbs up, much appreciated, and a share. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who watches the show, from Terry, George, Wicked, from Mrs. H, BC, and everybody else. Thank you for sharing and being part of tonight's show. We appreciate it. And I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to say this next weekend, and I hope everybody's listening. And we're going to have to share this like the Moofoo. Next week, I want to do a question and answers. This will be the show next week, a question and answer show. You fans can ask the HWR crew a question, and we will answer all your questions even if the pervertive ones too.
Oh God, I'm scared. My crew's showing
Me
up.
too.
So it is going to be a Q&A night for the HWR crew. We will be talking about little things like news and rumors, but we want to hear from you guys. Send us your, send Rick your questions, and we will read it on the air if you can't make it. But we want to hear from you guys, so it will be HWR's Four Corner Rants Q&A session, and we will talk about everything going on. And here we are. Let's go to the odds department. If it pops up on my end over here. There we go. First of all, I'm going to give a big shout out to BC Games and More, BC and Mrs. A. You can see them every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. They talk about everything retro, from games, magazines, action figures, you name it, they have it. So, great people. Check them out. Johnny is not here, but he is the what, Zoe?
The Uba of Westchester.
I tell you, that wakes me up in certain places. I tell you.
Hey, you know what? I always like to rise to a challenge.
Yeah. We rise up for awareness.
Oh, God.
And you can check out Johnny on YouTube at Uber Westchester. Do the hashtag Uber Westchester. And the same thing on Instagram. You can see all he talks about everything about Uber, from making money to, I don't know, all this insanity that we've been seeing with Ubers lately. She is the one who just voiced that little Uber of Westchester. She is our vicious vixen, Zoe Nightshade. Tell us about what's going on, Zoe. And again, she is the manager of the tag team champions of the Kentucky Zone Wrestling Carnage.
You know it. As far as what's been going on, we actually had a new member. This is the longtime friend of mine. Her name is Jennifer Ring. And let me tell you, she's awesome. You guys can always, catch me on Facebook, on my page, or my fan page, or my new Creepypasta page, where every Friday night at 10 o'clock, I will be on there bringing you some scary stories live. If you guys are in Williamsburg or near Williamsburg, come down to the National Guard Armory this Saturday at 7:30 to check out some KBW wrestling.
Absolutely. And again, you can check them out because she's always posting it up on the HWR chat room, so you can get all the results from all her shows. So it's there for you, but you got to be a member of HWR chat room. He is.
And I'm sorry, I meant to mention this. The Creepypasta page is actually under the name The Nightmare Vixen.
There you go. And that's on Facebook, correct? I mean, YouTube?
Yep.
YouTube. Okay.
Just Facebook.
Okay. He is the incomparable one, Lance Moss. Lance, man, tell everybody what's going on.
Well, you can find me at youtube.com/LanceMossTV. Every Wednesday night I go live on Lance Moss TV and Friends. I never know who's going to show up. Coming up on Halloween night, I'm going to have a kind of a Halloween-themed party, as I'm calling it, where I'm going to try to get everybody to come in costume if I can get them to. If not, cool. But that's going to be Halloween night. That's next Wednesday. And tomorrow at around lunchtime, I'll be putting up Redneck Gourmet empanadas.
Well, there you go. And he is our beloved son of a bitch, Andy. If you love the paranormal and you love shows in the UK, this is one show you want to see. Andy, tell everybody about it.
Yeah, if you want to check out youtube.com/StokeHaunted or StokeHaunted.com, the website, it'll tell you there everything you need to know, all the details, how to contact me. If I've offended you, then you can send me an email and I'll apologise if an apology is necessary. But float your boat, go on to youtube.com/StokeHaunted and please give me a subscribe, because if you give me a subscribe, I'll give you a prize.
No. He is in charge of this insane asylum. He watches us all the time. He is the boss, Rick Head. Rick, tell everybody about Hardcore Wrestling Radio.
Well, before we do that, I got to break in one piece of news, and I found this interesting. We all know that SmackDown's going to Fox, and apparently Fox has some certain conditions that the SmackDown's going to have to be under. First and foremost, they want to get rid of some of the comedy in there. They want it to be more sports oriented, and they want to do a lot of cross branding. So it looks like SmackDown might make some changes, and not for the better. But with hardcore, if you want to learn those kind of news and rumors, much more, the HWR chat room has it all. Right now, I'm working on a Triple H wallpaper. I do a lot of tribute videos, which you can also find over on our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/HWR show. And again, we're here every Thursday night, where we do cover a live podcast and hosted by Joseph Knight on Four Corner Rants. Just check it out, HWR chat room.
Absolutely, and everybody, I am your host, Joseph Skoldrin, and you can find me on my various platforms on YouTube, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook under the hashtag Skoldrin's Realm, or you can go to skoldrinsrealm.com and read up all my blogs and all the videos I have done. I do a lot of game videos from past and present. When it comes to retro games, when it comes to today's games, I do it. And at the same time, I do talk about various TV shows from past and present. So check me out on that. You can also check me out on Twitter at Skoldrin. Another thing on that special page it's our T-shirts. If we're selling HWR T-shirts, you can get the Lance Moss shirt, the Euro Westchester, my shirts, Zoe Nightshade shirt, HWR shirts, and these Stoked Hunter shirt, and the famous shirt of them all, Lance.
Buy the shirts.
Buy the shirt, indeed. So check all that out. Yes, you can see on your screen. I got cups, everything. If you want a specific item, check it. Let me know, and I will set it for you. You can go to skoldrinsrealm.com, click on shop, and you can find all those products there. So with that, folks, I'm going to say thanks for watching and being part of tonight's broadcast. With that, I'm going to say thanks for watching, and one more time, Lance.
Buy the shirts.
Definitely buy the shirts, indeed. We need to upgrade our product and try to somehow get the fuck all the way from here.
Yeah.
And maybe we can buy Reed a better cup, or Charlotte a better cup. No.
Not possible.
Yeah, you're right. Bye, folks.
Well, they have those camel toe underwear now.
Oh well, we'll have to go to Sasha Banks for that. Oh shit.
Yeah, what's up there?
Oh shit, we're still alive. Okay, folks, take care.